Hello and good afternoon, good morning, and in some places, good night, I suppose. Welcome to this week's new episode of Xbox Lunch Break Special. I'm your host, Mr. BoomStick XL. Folks, we have an outstanding show to you, which we thought we were opening with even more breaking news regarding ABK. Turns out, folks, and I'm kind of going to reiterate this as people file in here, there is a document that is making the rounds, okay? I saw this pop into my... shout out to Lethal Papa for not only being an incredible modder, but dropping hot button information into the DM as he normally does. And this was posted by Snap Blast Play. And apparently there is something that is going around. It's a document from the CMA for the ABK deal. I'm going to pull up the document in front of me, and it looks, folks, it looks 100% legit. It looks 100% legit, but it has been confirmed by FOSS patents as well as Post Up as being fake. So if you see this going around, this is a fake document regarding the merger between Activision, Blizzard, King, and Microsoft, and the CMA's involvement. I do want to get this out there for everyone to see, so you're not bamboozled and you don't start posting memes like some of the stuff that I saw, which were really funny, but not just yet. And it says clearly that as of the 17th of April, that the deal has in fact been approved with no concessions. And again, folks, I just want to reiterate, this document that has made the rounds as early as, I don't know, 7 minutes ago is and has been confirmed by some of the industry's best that we all go to for the hot button information in Post Up and FOSS patents. So I want to thank them for getting back to me, or at least, well, getting, posting to the community that this is fake. I would imagine that in the coming weeks, folks, all of this is going to be behind us. On the 26th, we are expected that the CMA is going to put out their final decision. And we already know that Sony's been moved off the board. It's only Cloud, and Cloud continues to get answered with all the deals that Microsoft is making. But we do have some monster topics, one of which doesn't seem to be a big conundrum for me. We're talking about Square Enix. They continue to post loss after loss after loss. And it turns out, folks, that as great as Octopath Traveler 2 is, well, folks, it is dying on the vine. It has sold poorly on the PlayStation 5. It sold pretty good on the Switch, which that's to be expected. That's a perfect Switch game, by the way. And PC wasn't mentioned, which obviously means that it's probably not selling well on PC. And Xbox wasn't mentioned. Oh, that's right, because Xbox was excluded from that conversation. And thanks to Judge Corden, who posted something, I believe it was like a week or so ago, that no one really talked about, is that there may be a strained relationship between Xbox and Square Enix now. This is what he's hearing. I'm going to read his direct quote. But I don't know. I don't know what Microsoft could have possibly done to Square Enix they didn't like, that they're withholding content. But their arrogance and honestly their stupidity is going to cost the company in the long run. Because, and I only bring this up, folks, isn't because like it's breaking news. Oh my God, Square Enix hates Xbox. I'm bringing it up because of the Final Fantasy 16 trailer that dropped last week on the Sony State of Play. Again, not for Boom. I don't like modern Final Fantasies at all. This might be more action-oriented, and if it ever came to Xbox, I would certainly give it a go, just to give it a shot, because I hated 15. I literally hated 15. I thought 15 and the boy band thing and the traveling in the car was just dumb. It just was just terrible. So we'll see if that ever appeals to me. I mean, you never know. There were some instances where it did look really good, and there were other instances that I was like, well, I don't really need that in my life, and I'm not buying it for the PlayStation 5 because I'm just not. If it was Final Fantasy VII Part 2, well, that's a horse of a different color, because I do want to see that that remake to completion. But listen, let's get into the introductions, folks. And then, of course, we will get into some of the hot button topics, and one of which is a studio that you see on the screen right now, Tango Gameworks. I got to tell you, folks, the more that we see from this studio, the more I have realized that Microsoft has something special on their hands. Xbox Game Studios is a lot better for having Tango Gameworks at part of XGS. Just, all you have to do is look for what they've done for you lately. Their last foray into multi-plat gaming was The Evil Within 2, which I'm not sure if you played it. It is phenomenal. Definitely worth playing. A HiFi RUSH surprised all of us. And of course, now I'm playing Ghostwire Tokyo, which I'm 10 hours in, and it's phenomenal. It is phenomenal. But Web Dave, you had a great show yesterday. I popped in for a little bit, hung out with you guys.
Did appreciate that.
Put out a new interview today that was amazing. Of course, you sat down with Post Up, and that guy, man, he is as smart as a whip, boy. When I tell you, sharp as a tack. Post Up knows what he is talking about. What a gentleman gamer. Another fantastic interview. I'm happy to have mediated the fact that you guys could work together. And really, that's really what it's supposed to be about. It's supposed to be about other community members working with each other to rise everyone up around them. I mean, that's really the whole point of community. And that was a fantastic interview. And like I said, I've been talking with Post Up all morning, as a matter of fact. And we might be able to get him on Wednesday's show for primetime gaming. He's going to check his schedule, because I would imagine that, and he actually put something in that I put in the DM. Next couple of weeks going to be very interesting, especially in the ABK talk. So shout out to you, and shout out to Post Up again for reaching out to me and confirming that this document is fake, because obviously I would have done it as breaking news, but I didn't want to say anything until I got the confirmation. But Dave, good morning, brother. How are you feeling?
I'm doing fantastic. Great show last night. And then, of course, both of us got to be on the Iron Lords 300 episode, which was a total honor. I got to pop in there, and man, it was just such a great show. 7 hours and 40 minutes, but it was all enjoyable. So it was awesome. So it was good, man. It was really good. And then, of course, like I said, last night we had Kay Asante on.
It was
Gamers
good.
Council. He's such a professional. So awesome. But man, I'm ready to get into topics today, man. I'm fired up. Let's do it.
Yeah, you know what? I do want to offer once again my congratulations to 4 guys that I consider to be brothers, and that, of course, is the Iron Lords. 300 of anything, folks, is something to be marveled at for sure. But 300 of a particular podcast is years and years of work. When you consider that they only do one Iron Lord podcast per week. And when you do one a week, that's 4 a month. And then you just do the math. So to get to 300 is an accomplishment worthy of another round of applause, because they have this community, as you have seen, Dave and Crazy Lou and Fuzzy. There are a lot of folks, which we don't name names here because that's not what we do, have taken the shortcut to success by using hate-motivated content, by using negativity to further their brand. And if there's one thing that you can look at and be proud of and smile and applaud, it's how the Iron Lords have done the Lord's work, if you will, by doing it the right way, by using the community as the focal point of their channel. It's a lot of the work that we all here do. And it's great to see that they've built a channel and they've built a community around the grassroots of gaming, meaning taking your time, doing the right thing by its members on the panel, doing the right thing by making their content fun. So again, once again, shout out to the Iron Lords for hitting that milestone of 300. That's a big deal. Crazy Lou Gaming, brother. Good morning. How are you feeling?
Man, Boom, I am feeling awesome. I mean, wow, what an intense morning. News dropping by everywhere. I mean, it's just been crazily insane. I mean, seriously, I even forgot to put on some pants to come on the show. No, I'm just kidding.
Holy matrimony. Don't get up. This is PG, brother. Don't stand up. This is PG.
I'm just kidding. I got my pants on. But hey, man, it's been an exciting morning. I can't wait to jump on this news. We got lots to talk about today. Super happy now.
yeah, we have actually a lot to get into. And one of the most exciting things is to learn that we have. I mean, multiple people have come out and talked about this regarding what is next for Tango Gameworks, and apparently they have two projects in active development. One of which is rumored and expected to be Evil Within 3. Which after playing 2 and the way it ended, you would imagine there is going to be a 3. Didn't like the first one. Played about maybe 3 or 4 hours into it. I actually am going to start that after I finish a couple of games because I want to see what I missed. I must have missed something about the game, and I'm going to go and I'm going to check it out. I'm going to play it from start to finish. I enjoyed the second one so much I beat it twice. I loved the second one. So the third one is probably going to be even better than the second one. And now that they have Microsoft backing them, they have the funding to really push the pedal to the metal. I would imagine it's going to be amazing. But it's the JRPG that is rumored to be cell shaded that has me over the moon excited because we don't know how far along this project is. We didn't even know the project existed until everyone started coming out with these rumors. And of course, I'll give the shout out to where I got the information from. But Fuzzy Belvedere, good morning, brother. How you feeling?
Oh, I'm doing great. Glad to be here with you guys. Happy to interact with everybody in the chat. Man, so close to this ABK deal getting wrapped up before E3 or Xbox Showcase or whatever we want to refer to it as. But man, some interesting topics to get into today, and man, can't wait to do this. Let's get into it.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know what? Let's open up with Ghostwire Tokyo. This is the game that obviously launched on the PlayStation 5 last year as an exclusive. It finally has made its way to the Xbox Game Pass. And it came in and people were excited. And then the next day, no one talked about it. There were some criticisms towards the game in regards to it being some of its side missions not being the most detailed, it having a map that is, comparable to some extent to a lot of things to do, i.e. Assassin's Creed. It even came in from Jez Corden, where he talked about how he enjoyed the lore and the world and the gameplay, but he was a bit stuck scratching his head where this game that is a first-party game wasn't optimized for the Series X the way it probably should have been. I am playing it now. There are 2 modes for it. There is, the 30 frames mode. But there is a 60 frames mode, which is what I'm playing in, and it runs incredibly super smooth. I've had no bugs whatsoever, no crashes, no problems with my saves. Anytime that I have died, it's because of something that I did, as you're going to see on the screen, which I don't die very often because the game is not head smashing against the wall hard. It's just that some of these ghosts that you come across, they're difficult, especially if you get attacked by a pack of them. But this is the game that I think there are a couple of things that jump off the page for me personally about Ghostwire Tokyo. Number one, after the success of HiFi RUSH, which came out of nowhere earlier this year, I think it's something to be said that this game, Ghostwire Tokyo, should be on your radar to see what exactly this studio is capable of doing. and I am just about 11 hours in. I played the entire weekend. I have I only recorded, and this is a little bit late into the game because it's not slow. Your powers are limited, but when you start ramping up and you start getting the fire and the ice and you start mixing the elements, it's something. You'll see it on the screen. This is much later into the game. It's probably around 7 or 8 hours in, so you're going to see a lot of my powers like really at their maximum. I don't understand how people are not talking about this game. I know that there's a lot to play, but this is something you need to put on your radar, especially if you are a fan of this type of manga anime genre. It is very, very soaked in lore. The story is, I think, fantastic so far. The character is endearing. What he's fighting for is, it could, some people consider atypical. He's fighting for his sister that got kidnapped. Okay, not the greatest story, but you gotta really see what the story is to appreciate what's going on. Web Dave, I'll go to you first. Have you tried Ghostwire Tokyo or after HiFi RUSH? Is this a game that's on your radar?
Yes, I have tried it. I played it for about maybe 2.5 hours. Didn't get a chance to spend a whole lot of time on it, but so far. But I plan on completing it. It's a lot of fun. I like the mechanics. They're just they're unique. So it makes it a nice kind of change of pace. Took me a little bit to kind of grasp some of the items that are just around there where you can get power from. I know I missed a bunch of them at first, so I need to go back and maybe restart now that I know a little better how to play it. But no, it's a lot of fun. Like your footage shows. It's beautiful. I mean, it's and it's got some creepy elements to it, but it's not like totally horror. But it's definitely got enough shock value. And there's some times when there's so much stuff coming at you that you kind of panic, trying to back up to get yourself set up for the next to clear the room, as it were, or because if you're not careful, they can get on you pretty quick. So yeah. I like it. It's very well done, very well designed. I'm hoping it's something that that can make a franchise out of it to continue, something that they can actually bring to sort of. The story was good. I like how you can actually have the subtitles and then have it all in Japanese if you want,
which is how I do it. I do. Mrs. BoomStick and I, obviously we've talked about this before. Me and her are huge subtitle watchers, if you will. Mm-hmm. We love like our biggest thing right now is K-dramas, like something we really enjoy. So I would not have, even if they had the option, I'm not even sure that they do, but if they do, we wouldn't switch to it. I think that it's best played with the original voiceover in Japanese, and you just read the subtitles, in my opinion.
Not me. I'm being dyslexic. Sometimes it's kind of harder. Yeah. So I kick it on English.
No, that's fine. Sorry. Listen, no. Listen, you have nice to enjoy the game, there. Brother.
Yeah, exactly. It's nice the options there, though. That's the cool part.
Options are good, folks. That's what gaming's all about. Options are good. So yeah, I'm glad that you're enjoying it. It definitely does. I don't want to say the word drag because that would imply that there is an issue. I will say this: just play the game and allow for the storytelling to happen for you. Allow for the game to tell you what to do, because it's a bit overwhelming, especially when you start looking at the map. Like I have expanded the map, and the map is very Assassin's Creed-esque. There is a lot to do. There are a lot of side missions. Now, you don't have to do them. Some of them are go into a bathroom and hand a ghost a roll of toilet paper, because that actually happened. And I had to go find another one because one wasn't enough. And that actually happened. And that was a mission. But there are more elaborate ones. There are more ones soaked in lore and that are a bit emotional. One woman lost her daughter, and the daughter's spirit is somewhere. You have to go find it. Again, it's you don't have to do them, but I am quite enjoying it. And every time I'm like, it's for me anyway, how I love, and this is why I love Ubisoft games. As I'm going to point A, there's always going to be something on to the left or to the right. This is very Witcher-esque. If you're a Witcher fan and you like that map loaded with things to do, this is definitely going to be right up your alley, especially if you like, clearing map sections and you've done everything in that section and you go, that this game might be for you. Crazy Lou Gaming, have you had a chance, my friend, to get into Ghostwire Tokyo?
To be honest, no, I have not gotten that chance because I'm too busy playing Resident Evil, trying to get through it. But yes, I haven't sat down and said, okay, let me sit down and play this game, see how it goes. But I remember everybody was playing it on Twitter, everybody was excited about it, and like out of nowhere, everybody just like slowed down, just came quiet about it. A lot of people were complaining about the performance issues, stuff like that. I mean, I haven't played it to be saying that if I found an issue or anything, but I know it's a Tango Gameworks game, and it seems a lot of fun. I mean, people that are playing it are actually told me they're enjoying it, and yeah, that's all I got to say about that, to be honest, because I mean, I haven't sat down and tried it yet. So,
no, I mean, it's fair. It's fair. Obviously, I've seen a lot of people make mentions that they would love to see a Doctor Strange game be made by the studio, just by the way the hand movements are, especially when they pull the strings out, you pull the souls with the strings. This has the hand movements. If you look at what's happening, are very Doctor Strange-esque. I will say that if there was an opportunity to bring a Doctor Strange game to fruition, that would be awesome. And I think this could be the not so much the groundwork, but certainly the structure of how you would do a first-person Doctor Strange game. I don't know. I've seen that mentioned a couple of times.
I like that.
But it's a game that I will say this: if you want to see the future of Xbox game studios, especially in the eastern region of the world, meaning Japan and China, things of that nature, these games that Tango Gameworks have put out, especially for Xbox in 2023, and HiFi RUSH and now Ghostwire Tokyo, are a clear indication that this studio is a winner. This studio is something special. And to have it as first party, folks, we're going to get into what they're potentially working on next. You should be excited. And again, I understand JRPGs, not for everyone. I hear you, but they're certainly for me. And the fact that we're going to get into how Square Enix has completely disregarded Xbox, you kind of need to do your own thing. You can't trust Square. And if Square becomes first party with Sony, which it is expected that might happen, you'll never get another JRPG from Square. I don't know. We'll get into it. Fuzzy, I know you said you haven't had a chance to play it, but based on what you've seen, based on what you've read and you heard, is this a game that you're eventually going to try?
Well, I've played it, just not on Xbox yet.
Okay. So you did play it on PlayStation then?
Yeah. And it's one of those things where I didn't finish this and Deathloop on PlayStation because I wanted to get all the achievements on Xbox. But yeah, I think the biggest thing is this was one of those games after playing where I was a fan of The Evil Within, but I definitely like this a bit more, even though it's not your horror style game, but it's got some of those characters from like a lot of the movies like The Ring and The Ring was based off of in this that I really like seeing those characters. Those are the types of movies me and my wife watch a lot. And I like the powers and elements and things like that, as far as the combinations that you're able to cast. Instead of worrying about having limited ammo in like, some of the other horror movies or horror games and stuff like that, having built powers and things like that. And, a small amount of puzzles, some traversal as far as being able to kind of not really grapple, but like you can pull towards certain floating demons to get on rooftops and things like that. And there are, dogs that you can pet and cats that you can buy stuff from. I mean, it's a really interesting game, and it's one of those that, well, I haven't started picking it up on Xbox just yet. I think I'm about 22, 24, somewhere around 20 plus hours into it on PlayStation. So it's the big recommendation: do the side story stuff to get the additional abilities.
Yes.
If you're not really looking to get additional abilities and you want to make it a little bit harder as far as the progression, then just go through the story stuff. But the side stuff is where it pays off. Even though, some of them are fetch quests, some of them may be your like typical side type thing where you're going to find something or retrieve something, but they're still fun and still coming across, like either trying to sneak past some of the spirits or trying to get them in a group where you can pretty much set them all on fire and then pull the cores out of them at the same time. It's a lot of fun, and it's got that gratifying feeling. Like, I know a lot of people were saying, okay, look at how Redfall has it where you can like do the stake through the heart, and it has like that satisfying like plunge feeling. You get that same deal when you're able to pull the cores out of some of the demons and things like that here. So it's a lot of fun. We'll be playing it some point later, either this week or next week on Xbox. But for anybody that hasn't had a chance to play it at all, whether it be PlayStation or PC, this is definitely one of the pretty good, or if not great IPs, new IPs that Xbox has, and it's well worth a playthrough or at least a try.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. And again, I will say this: the game is not going to be for everyone. Like I said, if you are someone that appreciates manga, if you appreciate anime, if you appreciate a lot of the horror element that we have known and seen in film from Japan, this game is definitely going to jump off the page for you. Again, it's not going to jump off the page for everyone, but look, it's I think personally, it's so different than your average and normal first-person quote-unquote shooter that it certainly might be something that you'll pick up. And again, like I said, in the beginning, it is a bit overwhelming. Please don't be disheartened where it seems like it's too much thrown at you, because I felt a little overwhelmed, and I've been gaming since 1978. But again, I'm also used to having these big maps with a whole bunch of things to do. And once you start to learn and start to find things, you appreciate the traversal aspect of it is amazing. And Fuzzy had made mention of it. There are these winged demons that are scattered around the environment, and sometimes they're close next to the roofs of buildings, and you use that whip that you see to grapple onto them, and it lifts you all the way up, and you can now jump on the rooftops. And there's a power that you get that when you jump off of the roof and you hold A, you kind of like you float. You can move while you're floating. There's a lot to be excited about, but there's two that I want to continue this conversation because I want to talk about what's next for Tango Gameworks. Now, Idle Sloth, the human Idle Sloth, good friend of this program and great friend of this community, put out a tweet a couple hours ago where he put, according to Spanish Xbox Insider, Extras TV, Tango Gameworks is working on a JRPG and on another project that will be based on a new IP. So if he's correct in saying so, that means that they potentially have three projects they're working on. These two new IPs, one of which is a JRPG, which is expected and rumored to be in the same graphical vein as HiFi RUSH. And I say yes, please, because, well, HiFi RUSH, that's all you have to say. And the other thing that I will say is I just got confirmation that next Monday on this exact show, Extras TV is going to be joining us to hang out for the entire podcast. I've been back and forth with him in DMs. He's amazing. If you're not subscribed to his channel, I don't know what you're doing, but the guy's legit.
Let me help you out a little bit. It's Ecstasies.
It's okay. I don't know why I said extras, but so it's Ecstasies TV. Thank you for that, brother. Yeah, I really dig the guy's stuff. I obviously have to use it because I don't really fully understand Spanish. So when he speaks in Spanish, I have the subtitles going, so I just read that way. But yeah, he's going to be joining us, which is awesome. And obviously his newest podcast, if you go to Idle Sloth, you file Idle Sloth 84_, he has where he actually talks about it, timestamp. So definitely go over and follow not only Idle Sloth, but Ecstasies TV as well. Because again, both great dudes. I'm going to go to you first, Crazy Loop Gaming. If there's one thing that, well, I can't really say one thing because I'm going to get into it again. I'm sorry, folks. There are a lot of things missing from the Xbox first party Game Pass helpings, if you will. Family, obviously, fighting, we know. JRPGs is something that, well, they never had before. And it appears based on this rumor that could be changed. And again, remember, they've been working on HiFi RUSH for years. We didn't know about it. And out of nowhere, the team decided we're going to shadow drop this. And it wound up being, it's on my high list for Game of the Year already. If you haven't played it, I don't know what you're waiting for. It's phenomenal. The humor, the writing, the graphics, the control, the story. It is as close to a perfect release that we have seen in the past decade. There is literally nothing wrong with the game. It is perfection in the making. How do you feel about that, about Tango Gameworks taking their Japanese expertise, because they are a Japanese studio, and potentially bringing that awesomeness that we saw in both Ghostwire Tokyo, which I'm playing now, and HiFi RUSH that came out of completely nowhere, and making an exclusive JRPG for Xbox? Is that what the platform needs?
Yes, it does need JRPGs. We need a bunch of JRPGs in that platform, seriously. And I'm really happy that the studio, if they're actually doing it, they're taking risk. And this is something that has not been happening for a long time. We have always see studios just go for what's for sure. Like, for example, with Activision Blizzard, all they go for is Call of Duty. They take little risk on making other games. And I'm happy that these guys, besides doing these horror great games that they used to do, because I mean, Tango Gameworks was known for what? Evil Within 2. Now we have Ghostwire Tokyo, which was like part of the horror genre, but I don't know if it's not scary because I haven't played it. But we see them jump into HiFi RUSH, and look how successful they did with HiFi RUSH. I mean, that game is amazing. So them taking a risk on making JRPGs and bring JRPGs to the platform, that is freaking awesome. And I really wish that this rumor actually is true, because, hey, I do miss those JRPGs, action type games. I mean, I really do miss that. I mean, I really do miss taking my time, like playing Man's X. Should I use magic? Should I use to heal? Stuff like that. Not how it is now that you go over there, you're like, yeah, I got a big sword, let me go slash everything and mess everybody up and slash everything up. No, I want to take my time, strategize, like use all these combinations and tags, stuff like that. Like Persona 5, like how Chrono Trigger was back in the day, man. I miss those type of games. So really, if they are doing it, super happy, super psyched, and I know it's going to come out great because, hey, they've been doing great with their games.
I agree. Look, folks, when you have a studio that is known specifically as being a horror studio, right? Like that's what Tango Gameworks was known for. That's what the director Shinji was known for. He helped create Resident Evil. He moved on to create this studio. Now, obviously, it was a bit shocking that he left, but from what we understand, he left because he wanted to retire. He's been in the business for a long, long time, and he wanted to retire. Now, is he going to stay retired? Who the heck knows? Is he probably going to still help out at Tango if they have questions, if they, they reach out to him? Of course he is. But he apparently is incredibly satisfied and confident with who he has left to precede him after he's officially gone. And I'm okay with that. I mean, listen, he's created the studio. He left. That kind of sucks. But I don't think that it's all spirals down. That doesn't usually happen. But this is for me to see a studio that many people in this community didn't even know was Microsoft first party to come out and drop bomb after bomb, because Ghostwire Tokyo is a bomb in a good way. You got to play it. Again, it may not be for you, and that is okay. But I say, Jackson in the chat says, I wish Ghostwire would have had been third person. I can see that. I can see how a third person mode might have been better, but I think that's like literally making a new game, because the extensive handwork that has gone into the first person mode, I don't know how that would translate to from first to third or third to first. I'm not sure. Like I said, again, it's if first person games aren't your thing and you're really into third person, then this game is definitely not for you. But I say if you want something that's different and edgy and has a horror element to it, and that's really focusing on like unbelievable amounts of magic that you see on the screen, that you should definitely give this a shot. Web Dave, let's get your hot take on this, because again, many insiders are now talking about this. It's not, we've heard it from Idle Sloth, Ecstasies, we've heard it from Hazardor Gaming put out something this morning. Hazardor, shout out to you, brother, for always keeping us up to date. What are your thoughts on a JRPG from Tango?
All right, I'll give you my thoughts on that. While you read the DM, Fuzzy dropped something in there for you. It's a little breaking news for you, for us, as it were. But yes, I think a JRPG would be fantastic. I think it's it's a great studio, and they definitely have the ability to do it. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. You see the amazing designers they have, and the graphics and stuff that they can put out, and the gameplay. And I mean, why not? Because I think that's something that would be great for them to try. And they have, I guess the culture that would for quote unquote JRPG that could make it work. I mean, graphically, I think they could really pull it off too, and especially if it's something started from scratch, then you're going to have the Xbox in mind with pulling the full resources out of the machine, and I think that's the way to go. And why not, man? It'd be great. I'd love to see him do it.
Yeah, me too. I would, like I said, their storytelling is impressive, but I think what jumps off the page for me, Crazy Lou and Dave and Fuzzy, is the world building.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you just look at the screen. Now, granted, I apologize. It's a dark game, which is why I like to keep with very colorful racers, because it while you're watching or listening to the show, you can watch footage. It's a very dark game, folks. This game is dark, but listen, the world building in this game is amazing. The world building in HiFi RUSH is astounding. So if you take those two ideologies and you turn around and you say JRPG, new IP, new characters, I gotta be honest with you. I'm stoked beyond recognition. I think that we could see something that could rival some of the best RPGs in the business. Fuzzy, thanks so much for dropping it in. We have some breaking news. It's not world-breaking news. It has nothing to do with ABK. It has to do with Joseph Staten. We'll get to that we'll jump into that.
Mm-hmm.
Good for Joseph. He's apparently a really good dude, a really nice guy. So I'm glad to see that he is going to find success after leaving Microsoft, and specifically 343 Industries. But let's get your hot take on what Tango could bring to the Xbox gaming community when you consider just their last two bodies of work are soaked in lore and storytelling. And yeah, my stealth aspect didn't work there, and this bitch is hard. I'm gonna tell you that right now. She is tough. She's like a mini boss, as you'll tell for how she dices me to pieces. But let's get your hot take on this, brother.
As far as with Tango Gameworks, I think they're definitely like that wild card, because we weren't expecting HiFi RUSH at all. Like, we had heard a name, floating around a couple of months prior, and that it was going to be like Jet Set Radio-ish, but they have that capability with their I guess he's going to wind up being the new studio lead, Johannes.
Yes.
With that IP is definitely going to continue. And if they revisit the Evil Within or continue the Ghostwire, IP, both of those are definitely worthwhile. As far as there's so many different avenues they can take Ghostwire down and expand on not just the map size, but the overall story or the potential characters or the lore of different demons and things along those lines. But Evil Within, it's going to be basically, and I hate to say it's a carbon copy, it's not, but it's basically our in-house, Resident Evil to some extent.
Yes.
But they'll have its own spin to it, and it definitely has a lot of different story beats that it could take as far as for future iterations. But with the news of that JRPG that's going to be kind of like a cell shaded, like the way HiFi RUSH caught us off guard, I think this will probably catch a lot of people off guard. Not in like a way where they're like, oh, what is this? It'll be more like they would have never expected this from Tango, let alone on Xbox in general. So I think it's something that will give not just fans here in the States, but fans abroad something to look forward to.
I agree.
Doesn't skip Xbox like normally. So I there's a lot of potential in that studio, and they're on a hiring spree right now, looking for additional talent. And when Mikami left, or with him leaving, he left it in good hands. So I think that they're going to be, we may not see it today, but when you talk about some of Xbox's, best studios, I think they'll be in the conversation in up and coming years. I mean, their body of work as of recent has been a lot better than what we've seen probably when they were just solely under Bethesda by itself. These last two IPs, I think, are a testament of what their future can be. And when people talk about how 343 or Turn 10 or Coalition are awesome, and you got Obsidian and the main proper of Bethesda, Tango Gameworks is going to be in that conversation as well, along with Ninja Theory and a few others. So I look forward to what they're going to do. Like I said, I enjoyed my time with Ghostwire on PlayStation, and HiFi RUSH was just that nice, almost like nostalgic surprise that none of us were really expecting, and kind of caught the world by storm. So they definitely got a lot of potential going forward.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they are on a hiring spree, and they are looking to again. I was under the impression that the next up for them was to go back to their roots in horror. Actually, Sebastian Cooper in the chat says, "I just want Evil Within 3. Why can't we just have it?" It's coming, brother. Obviously, if you like the series, the second one ended in a bit of a cliffhanger. No spoilers to the ending. Most games end in a cliffhanger, especially if it's a series. So there's I'm not ruining anything for you. I will say that you should play it for sure. It is phenomenal. Again, I did not enjoy the first one, but that's because I didn't put the proper time into it. I'm actually going to play through it and see what I didn't see originally, because it might have been that there's too many games out. I should have loved it because I'm a Resident Evil horror master, if you will. I love Resident Evil. It's my favorite franchise of all gaming. And I should have loved the Evil Within. I don't know what happened with me personally that it wasn't at the high list for me, but I'm definitely going to play it. I will say that for me, I love seeing these studios that no one really equates to anything come out and shock the world. And I think that was done with HiFi RUSH earlier this year. I didn't get this on the PlayStation 5 the same way that I got Deathloop, because I was like, at this point, I'm just going to wait. And I'm actually glad I did because obviously they added all the DLC for free, and that's all part of Game Pass. So it's definitely, like I said, in closing, it's certainly worth your time. Definitely check it out. And I will say that the future for Xbox Game Studios is incredibly bright, especially having a studio in the Eastern region where Microsoft has struggled for decades. This is going to be a big deal. And if their JRPG is anything close to the storytelling and the lore building and the world building that we've seen just in their last two bodies of work, you should be incredibly excited. But let's talk about, folks, the breaking news. Now, this comes the way of many people in the chat, so I can't shout you out individually because obviously there's a lot of you saying this. Joseph Staten, and I think you know who he is. He was a major part of getting 343 Industries and correct enough to get Halo Infinite out of the door. He obviously worked with Bungie many years ago. He is the, I don't know, what you consider the godfather of Halo. He's written books about it. He's been very involved with the series since Halo 1. Well, folks, he left obviously 343 Industries. We learned that last week that he left Microsoft altogether. There was some talk within the industry that he was going to return back to Bungie and potentially be working with PlayStation, because right now Bungie is having a tough go at it. Their last DLC that came out for the game did not hit very well. They were very disappointed. It's currently a 70 on Metacritic. Unfortunately, on top of that bad news, there's a bunch of layoffs happening. Destiny 2 had these servers had to have an emergency shutdown for something that happened, so it has not been good. And I was like, I think that maybe he's headed back to Bungie. I mean, that would make perfect sense. Well, no, folks, that's actually not where he's ending up. Apparently, he has just announced via his official Twitter account. He says this, folks. So today, I am thrilled to announce that I have joined Netflix Games as creative director of a brand new AAA multi-platform game and original IP. And that's his second post. The first post, I actually didn't even see this until now. He says, in my work life, there's nothing I love more than collaborating with others to build worlds filled with iconic characters, deep mysteries, and endless adventures. And of course, then he followed that with the announcement on Netflix. I mean, I'm happy for him. He's obviously the creative director at this new studio that was only formed a couple of years ago for Netflix. They haven't put out a whole bunch of stuff, folks, but they apparently are getting, they're dipping their toe more so now that I think they're up to their knee into gaming. I don't know how great the game is going to be or it's not going to be, but it is Joseph Staten. And I'm happy for him that he found where he landed safely in Netflix. Dave, anything you want to add to this? Again, this is breaking news, sure, but not the biggest news of the day for sure, at least in my opinion.
Right. Well, it's a big win for Netflix for sure, because
100%.
he is a brilliant creative, and and if he's getting the chance to, not really sure if it's a project that they brought him onto or if it's they're letting him have free reign over something that he's wanting to do. So not really sure which way that falls yet, but either way, it's a big plus for them. It's a big win for them, and good on him. He's one of the good guys. He's worked hard in the industry, and if he feels like this is something he wants to do to get his, get some creative, hopefully it'll be a win for all of us because we love playing games. So hopefully it'll be something we can all enjoy.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, listen, he specifically he kind of told us what he's doing, right? The game is going to be packed with mysteries. We don't know if it's a first-person shooter. We don't know if it's a third-person shooter. Heck, for all we know, it could be a side scroller. But listen, the fact that he's landed safely, and he's doing the work he loves to do. All you should do is applaud for him. Again, wherever he's gone, he's made success, and it was his return to Halo that got Infinite out, off of the single player Infinite out of the of where it was, and I loved Infinite's single player. I love the multiplayer, obviously, but I loved the single player. I'm saddened that he's not involved, and we don't have anything planned for Halo Infinite. I think that's a giant L, at least in my opinion, but it is what it is. Fuzzy, let's get your hot take on this, brother. Joseph Staten lands at Netflix. Good for Netflix for sure.
Oh yeah, and this is probably just me reading the tea leaves, or taking a trip to speculation town. But when Xbox employees leave and they go somewhere, you ever notice how Microsoft acquires that company? I don't know.
You might be onto something. Yeah, you never know. I mean, Netflix is working with Microsoft like right now.
Mm-hmm. So back to like Joseph himself, good on him as far as the deal with going to Netflix. Was kind of a little concerned if he had gone back to Bungie. Not that would be a bad thing per se, right, but just from an optic standpoint, it would show that there's possibly more rumblings that may turn out from 343. But in the grand scheme of things, I think if he's getting the chance to do a AAA multi-platform new IP over there, more power to him, and it'll be something that I'm pretty sure a lot of us will be looking forward to. Not sure exactly how that's going to play out on Netflix itself, but looking forward to whatever they produce. But I said congrats to him on Twitter and said bookmark this for Microsoft's next acquisition. So we'll see, because there was talks of acquisition stuff before, even though it was some analyst that was probably overthinking things, but there was some talk about Microsoft acquiring Netflix. They have the money to do it. I don't foresee them doing it just yet, but or in the grand scheme of things, but you never know. I mean, what's his name? Mike Quick. I keep on calling him Mike Quick, but Mike Ibarra and Ferguson went over to Blizzard and Activision and stuff, and so we already know what happened there. And there was another, I guess, studio that they acquired, and I can't remember who it was that went there or left Xbox to go over there, and then they wound up acquiring it. It was like, oh, you can't escape us. So we'll see. 2 or 3 years from now, if Microsoft picks up Netflix, this will be another instance of Microsoft sending a plant.
It's. I mean, listen, you're not wrong. You're not wrong in saying so, simply because, well, I mean, look what happened with Mike Ibarra. Look what happened with Rod Ferguson. They're both at Blizzard, and they all will be returning back to work for Microsoft, just in their current roles over there. I mean, listen, look, if Microsoft were to acquire at some point Netflix, I think ultimately what that would do, it would add an arm to Xbox, or to Microsoft for that matter, to take IPs that need an avenue for anime and for film. Obviously, we know that Netflix is doing Gears, right? It would have been, I mean, I don't know what the turnout would have been, Netflix doing it versus Paramount's Halo. I can tell you what I don't think would have happened. I don't think we would have saw Master Chief's ass, and I don't think that we would have saw his face for the entire show rather than him keeping the helmet on. So maybe that aspect of, or you know, would be, you know, again, they're working together. We know that for a fact, folks, that they're working together. But it would be pretty amazing, and it would be pretty crazy that, like you said, if some point that Joseph Staten leaves Microsoft to then get acquired, and then he's back working for Microsoft, it would be a funny story. I'm just happy for him. I really like the body of work he's done over the course of his career. And obviously I was very, very saddened that he is not going to have any involvement in what happens next with Master Chief. I'm incredibly saddened that I don't know when the next time we're gonna have a single player Halo. I don't know when that's going to be. I know they're switching over to Unreal Engine 5, which I think is huge. But I hope something happens much sooner than later. I just miss Halo, and specifically Master Chief being in the zeitgeist of gaming. He's just nowhere to be found, and that's just sad for me anyway. As being a huge Halo stan, I got almost 14 days in Halo Infinite, folks. Like, I'm like, for real, like, really love that game. Crazy Lou Gaming, let's get your hot take on this. Again, not the biggest story, but it's breaking news. Joseph Staten lands safely at Netflix. This is a big deal. This is a big deal for Netflix. Obviously, he's the creative director of whatever this new IP is. I don't know who's making it, what studio out that you know, and we know it's Netflix making it, but we don't know what studio is making it. What are your thoughts on this, man?
Super happy that he landed a job, and that, you know, that he's making a new IP, and also that means more games for us, especially it's going to come out from Netflix. So can't wait to see what idea is going to come out of that. I mean, super happy about that news, because we need, you know, everybody to jump into gaming, so that way, you know, everybody sees how important gaming is, how much fun it's getting, and that everybody, you know, everybody is getting into it. So yes, super excited, super happy that he actually landed a job with their Netflix. Super happy that they're working on a new IP, especially multi-platform. So can't wait to see what this game is going to be. I bet it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, again, I agree. I think wherever he lands, whatever he does, that's where he lands. Wherever he does, usually is right there with quality. So I'm excited to see what this Multi-Plat IP is going to be. Obviously, and it's funny. Notice how in the press release he specifically says multi-platform game. So getting it out early, that this is not going to be sucked up by PlayStation or Microsoft or be on PC. It's literally going to be everywhere. So whatever it's going to be, we're all going to get a chance to play it at some point. Folks, I want to move on to one of the bigger stories, folks. And again, I'm not a lawyer, right? I can only go based on what has been put out there. And we have many people that I depend on for this information. Post Up was one of the big ones. Hogue Law, who's back at full swing doing what Hogue Law does. FOSS Patents has exploded on the scene. Dustin Legary, listen, you know, he's been out here doing his thing. He's over 101,000 subscribers on YouTube. Really like what he does on his channel. He's constantly, you know, doing the work of the community. He's out there doing this stuff. So I go to a lot of places to get this information. And we have learned, folks, that the FTC, man, they caught another bad one. And I'm actually really happy about this. I have said for a while that, look, Lona Khan's ideology is sound. You understand? Now, I don't agree with what she is doing and how she's doing it. But ultimately, what she wants for us, the consumers, is extremely admirable. You can't argue that what she doesn't want to see happen is mega corporations like Apple, like Google, like Meta, like Microsoft just completely run the gauntlet or the gambit unchecked by government. Now, this is not going to turn into a governmental, conversation, but the way that she is doing it, ignoring the rule of law, ignoring actual evidence, is illegal. And thanks to the Supreme Court, they agree. So I'm going to pull up the story that I added to the DM, and it's a really big deal, and it's such a big deal that we've seen a significant amount of posts from Post Up. We've seen a significant amount of posts from Hogue Law and FOSS Patents on Twitter. Now I'm going to read a tweet from Hogue Law. Originally the story came the way of Kimberly Robinson. Now I just want to pull up exactly who she is. She is a Supreme Court reporter for BLAW, BLAW. And she posted that SCOTUS, #SCOTUS, says that they have challenged to the FTC and SEC structure and will continue in federal court. This is, now, if you don't know who Axon is, Axon makes tasers for law enforcement. And basically, they were going to acquire a company to better help their business, and the FTC got involved and did something that they believed was illegal, where they what the FTC's game is they will sue you to block your merger. And instead of it going directly to federal court for a judge or group of judges to decide on whether or not this merger should be passed or whether or not the complaint is valid from the FTC, they circumvent that and send you to the lower courts that are run by the FTC. And you are held up at these lower courts for years. So the idea is they literally gum up your movement to the point where it's costing your company millions of dollars to fight this frivolous lawsuit. And then at some point, you just give up and you take your ball and you go home. Well, that's what they tried to do with Axon, and Axon sued them. Now, we learned about Axon suing the FTC last year, and we were waiting for their decision, meaning the Supreme Court's decision. And it was a unanimous decision where they ruled against the FTC. And according to Hogue Law, he says this: Axon decided. In the Microsoft Activision news, Microsoft could conceivably bring a challenge to the entire concept of the FTC's administrative hearings, which is where it's currently up. He followed that up with a couple of the posts, and he says this: I said it before, but it didn't make much sense to me for SCOTUS to pick up this case if it wasn't going to go this way, but still, you never know. And he goes on to say, the court is quite generous to the expertise of 2023's FTC. And they say this about them: the commission knows a good deal about competition policy, but nothing special about the separation of powers, but not enough to prevent the commission from having another very bad day amidst a string of them. Yikes. And again, that quote, the first quote, comes the way of excuse me, the Supreme Court. And then Hogue Law follows it up by saying, but not enough to prevent the commission from having another very bad day amidst a string of them. And they have had a bunch of bad days. So ultimately, like I said, I don't know nothing about Axon. I'm a former law enforcement. I didn't have a taser, so it doesn't really make much difference to me. But tasers are non-lethal, and they're apparently a big company in the business. That's all I do know. But I want to bring this back around to ABK, because many of us here in the chat all thought that the potential failure of this deal was going to come the way of the CMA. And the CMA has moved Sony off the board. It appears that their only concerns were cloud. Those have been apparently, those concerns have been also wiped away with all the deals that Microsoft has done. The EU Commission rumored even like 2 or 3 weeks ago that they were going to pass the deal. Sony again moved off the board. No concern there. The FTC's case from the beginning seemed very, very like hanging on a thread. This defeat for the FTC is monstrous. My question to the money man, Web Dave, who is our guy when it comes to knowing about the ins and outs of this business, Dave, how big, how devastating is this to the FTC? And more importantly, how important is this to Microsoft's bid for ABK?
Well, I think it is actually a big deal. It's basically another loss for Lona Khan. Sorry, Chaka Khan. Anyway, so she is definitely batting 1,000, as it were, but in the wrong way.
Yeah.
It's. I mean, you said at your point at the beginning, that she seems like she's, on a just cause, but the way she's gone about it is absolutely wrong, unlawful, and the courts are going to bear that out. They have already bared out a lot of this. So, with that said, that now that this has come to light, it's pretty much, if Microsoft was even worried a little bit about how things would go, I think once the other two fall into place, and hopefully within the next week and a half, we're going to get the next shooter drop, as it were. And once that happens, I think the domino is going to take effect, and then the next one should probably within a couple of weeks should probably fall. Get accepted, and then after that, it'll be the FTC standing on an island all by themselves.
Yeah,
and
I think they're standing there now. I mean,
true.
we have information this morning regarding South Africa.
Yep.
And again, Post Up. I'll get to that in a second because people are asking about that. Post Up confirmed that it wasn't approved, but they simply have given the okay for it to be approved with no concessions. We'll get to that in a second. But you're absolutely right, Dave. Standing on an island by themselves is probably putting it nicely.
Yeah, well, and the thing is, they she's kind of brought this on herself. I mean, if she's trying to make a name for herself, she's going about it the wrong way. And if she's trying to do I don't know, the Lord's work, as it were, for the party in power, it's not looking good for her at all, especially considering there's. And I'm not talking politics. I'm just saying, but there's no Republicans on the board at all right now.
That's a big problem. Yeah, that's definitely a big problem. Yeah, there's going to be a big shakeup over there. At the look. I want to listen. This is not attacking Lona Khan as a person. She's very educated. Okay, she's very, very educated. She's put in that position because she was qualified. Her ideology, again, folks, is sound in wanting to protect the consumer. Her stubbornness, though, Dave.
Yes.
Her absolute stubbornness to wanting to do things her way and not use the rule of law is the big sticking point for me.
Yeah, it's going to be her downfall. It really is going to be her downfall. And like you said, it's just, I'm still, I'd say, I know it's going to go through 100%. I know this is going to get done. But I'm hoping, and I'm probably 90% sure that it's going to get completed before
June.
I guess the game show, or not game show, but the
showcase. The not E3.
Right, yeah, it's hard to say, so we'll just say the showcase.
The not E3. Yeah.
So that's what I'm hoping, is that so the showcase can even really be wow. Even more so.
I kind of just want this behind us. I know. I mean, I first of all, we got almost 500 people here, and everyone's excited to talk about it, and it's fun. I appreciate all the excitement behind it, but ultimately, I just want this to be done.
Yep, I'm with you.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I like what you're putting down. I think you're onto something, Dave. I think there is going to have to come a point within the next week or so where this loss. I mean, again, Lona Khan is head. She's the chairperson for the FTC. She ultimately is running the show. It's her ship to float or sink. Does she have a boss? Well, technically, yes. It is the president of the United States. And there is going to be, I'm sure, and again, this is where the conundrum comes into. We just saw what happened with Japan a couple of weeks ago, right? Where government, both Democrats and Republicans, were pushing the envelope for Japan to approve the deal, right? This is why I hate government. Mm-hmm. They were pushing the envelope, crazy Lou, to get this deal passed in Japan because Sony currently has a 98% to 2 ratio there. So obviously they're trying to get the deal passed in Japan because it's fair trade. What shocks me and what has me scratching my head is if that in fact is the case, and that is the case, why hasn't Lona Khan bent the knee? Meaning that why hasn't someone like the president or the House said, hey, listen, you're trying to block a deal that we just got approved in Japan for fair trade. What is happening here? There's nothing wrong with the deal. We've seen it's starting to come in left, right, and center. I'm actually surprised it hasn't happened where they're like, we're just going to come up with the concessions of cloud and we're going to remove. I don't know if this is a prideful thing, Crazy Lou Gaming, or what, but to me it seems strange.
This is the part what I don't get. You went straight to the point of Japan, which I was going to bring this into discussion. Right. What I find that's incredible. We're talking about the FTC. The FTC is part of the United States, and we're talking about an American company that is going out there to acquire another company, which is going to open more job opportunities for more developers, more stuff. And of course, we're going to see stuff going to happen after this deal gets done. Because, I mean, after what Microsoft has been showing, especially with their development program and everything that's been going on, they're trying to get more jobs and more developers and more people into gaming. So this is something that I scratched my head of. And I'm just like you. Okay, Japan goes ahead and approves the deal. Like, okay, yeah, no problem. I mean, what they're doing is not competition. Yet over here in the States, you are trying to stop this deal. You are trying not to let it go. You're trying to I don't understand why you have like such this. I feel like it's like a revenge thing. I don't know. I feel like she's trying to be like, yes, I am the big thing here. And if I say no, it's no. Yet they have been taking losses after losses after losses. Everybody is suing them. Everybody's mad the way they're working over there in the States. I mean, if they don't sit down and restructure or fix this, I mean, it's a bad thing. Okay, I understand you guys have questions. That is true. All of us have questions. I mean, if I was on their side, I would have questions, just like the EU Commission did, just like the a bunch of guys, a bunch of regulators did, and the EU Commission got their questions answered. And look at them right now. They're actually happy with the deal. I mean, they're saying, hey, we're liking the way this thing is sounding, and we're liking how this deal is going. So basically, one of these days, and we're crossing fingers, we're probably going to see the EU approve and say, yeah, go for it. Why not? So I don't understand why in the United States, FTC is saying, no, we're not going to let this go through. We want to sue. We want to stop this. Yet they have done it to a bunch of other companies. They wanted to stop Meta. They want to stop all this stuff. And again, you guys keep getting sued. You guys are doing such an awful job over there. I think they need like a little bit of restructuring and get themselves fixed. I mean, that's what I'm seeing, after I read all these articles on how everybody's just pretty much, all these companies are mad on how these regulators are working over there. They're not being fair. I mean, sit down, read the content, read what Microsoft is giving you. If you got to ask questions, ask all the questions you want, because, hey, they're open to answer any questions you guys wanted to be answered. But just don't go out there and say, hey, I'm just going to sue you. I'm just going to stop this deal. Like I said, EU read it. EU listened to other developers. EU listened to a bunch of other people. And they noticed that other developers have been, wanting for another company to come out and compete because they are pretty tired. And it seems after what I read, I'm just saying after what I read, this is my opinion, and I'm reading that they're pretty tired on Sony shenanigans and how they want to, on how they want to handle business. They want to look for another company that can compete so they can do business with them and feel happy and comfortable. And that way they can negotiate between Sony and Microsoft and establish new boundaries for them in order to be successful. So, like I said, I still don't understand why the FTC is trying to stop this. I still understand why they're trying to do this instead of sitting down reading what they have, and that's something they gotta do because hey, everybody's doing it and everybody's happy. South Africa approved today, Japan approved, a bunch of other countries have approved. FTC, why not approve for a company that's in your country? Why not? That's something I don't get it.
Yeah, I agree. And you know what? Being that you brought up South Africa, let me just read just an update from Post Up, who put this out about an hour ago. He says, just want to make sure that I'm putting it out there, putting out the correct information. The Competition Commission of South Africa investigates all mergers. In respect of mergers classified as small or intermediate, the commission approves or prohibits the merger from following an investigation. In the case of Microsoft Activision merger, is very large and complex. The commission recommends approval or denial to the competition tribunal. It is the competition's tribunal that will actually approve or deny this merger. And this is coming directly from the competition commission. In respect of large mergers, the commission recommends approval. Oh no, I read that. I'm sorry. Approval. This is the breakdown of exactly what they do. In respect of large mergers, the commission recommends approval or prohibits of the merger to the competition tribunal. Appeals from the tribunal are decided by the Competition Appeal Court, CAC, in circumstances where the merger raises constitutional issues or an arguable point of law of general public importance. Now, this is what the commission has said and has put forth out there. The commission has recommended that the competition tribunal approve the proposed transaction whereby Anchorage intends to acquire Activision without conditions. And he confirms that although not formally approved yet, it is good as done. Just so again, it's not approved yet. They have the commission has said to the tribunal that it should go through, and according to Post Up, it's good as done. So take that for whatever it's worth. Whether you believe that, I believe it's done. It's a done deal in South Africa. But I do want to bring in Fuzzy Belvedere and get your hot take on this. This is a big deal. Like I said, I think if stubbornness is at the center or the core of why the FTC continuing this lawsuit, which does not have a leg to stand on, it is going to cost Lona Khan her job. There's just no doubt about it. The fact that there is no representation from the Republican Party says a lot. The fact that we're seeing the most stout of regulators in the CMA take Sony's complaints and completely move them off the board says that Sony really didn't have a leg to stand on. The fact that the FTC, as of today, has not accepted and pulled back this lawsuit, knowing that they just lost a major case with Axon. I don't know what is happening, but it's not good. What ultimately you think is going to happen?
It's tough to say, but I would say Lona Khan's and any political career aspirations she had will pretty much, unless human memory fails us 10, 20 years down the road, whatever political ambition she was going for are pretty much going to be squashed at this point. I think the big thing is and not to turn it political or anything like that, but I hate when we waste our tax-paying dollars on stuff that could be put to better use. Like, there are better cases to fight or to litigate in government. This just isn't one of them. Like, there are so many other things where the consumer is at greater danger or at a bigger loss in comparison. Like, we still don't have like the a la carte cable in the US. Like, Canada has had it for pretty much almost 2 decades now. We still can't agree to do that because politicians have their hand, or the cable companies have their lobbyists in the politicians' pockets. So there's just so much wasted time and energy on things that just aren't that serious, I guess you could say. And at this point, I think what's going to wind up happening is that when the other two major ones, the CMA and the EU, wind up approving this, then it's just going to come down to, okay, well, they're going to close the deal more than likely, because the more and more as time passes, I think closing the deal over top of the FTC is probably the route that they'll go.
Right.
Knowing that the FTC is going to have to cave. They've asked for more funding as far as for the budget for next year. They're trying to fight a battle or run out of clock where the particular company is probably one of the richest companies in the world. So you're not going to run the clock out like you could on the smaller company. And that smaller company that you tried to do it on took you to court and won. So I think there's going to be some changes possibly come, prior to the next election. I don't know if Lona Khan will be, still in the position that she's in. They're going to have to make some changes over there to kind of, well, I guess the drawback is outside of gamers, I don't know if any of the rest of the public is really watching what the FTC is doing. But like I said, there's so many other things, whether it be net neutrality stuff or just other consumer related things, privacy protection, identity theft related things that the FTC could be, pushing these companies to focus on, as opposed to trying to block a deal just because it happens to be more than a couple $2 billion. And, we can't have big companies becoming bigger companies or whatever the case may be. I mean, I understand that thought process, that you don't want to make things to the point where it's too big to fail, like we've had back when the recession in 2008 and stuff like that. But this isn't really that scenario. Like, the auto industry is a little bit of a different deal, and the banking industry, it still has its problems even to this day. So it I don't know. Hopefully, cooler heads prevail. Once the other two, give their approval, hopefully the FTC at least comes to the table to kind of save face, as opposed to drawing it out any further. That's all I got.
I agree.
I got one more thing to throw in there.
Sure, throw it in here, brother.
Had to be said.
Yeah. Well, no, that's fine. Listen, I appreciate the antics, Dave. That's what we love having you on the the panel. But listen, let me catch up on the super chats, and we'll get everyone out of here. Hopefully, you enjoyed the show enough. And again, news is kind of slowing down a little bit. We did have some breaking stuff happen live on the air. We were going to talk about Square, but we ran out of time, folks. So I will then move that Square conversation to tomorrow's Xbox Factor podcast. And we're going to break down why Square just continues to step on the rakes. I don't understand what is happening. I do understand that there's big business. I'm a little confused of what could have possibly happened between Xbox and Square, where it appeared that there was a good working relationship. Obviously, Octopath Traveler 1 released originally as a Switch exclusive, then was released on the PlayStation 5. And then the Xbox Series came into Xbox Game Pass, which was great. And I would imagine that followed the success of Outriders, which was a day and date release and did very well. Square commented on it many times. So I don't know why they have completely, again, I'm going to read the article verbatim. Apparently, Sony wasn't the cause of Final Fantasy 16 staying exclusive. At least that is what's being reported. I don't know so much about that, but again, we'll get into that tomorrow. Drawn TJ, generous friend of the program, dropped a $5 super chat when we opened up and said, "Morning, guys. Everyone, please hit the like button." Hoke has said after the ABK deal, they could buy WB, then buy another publisher. I mean, Hogue knows his stuff. That's a big undertaking, folks. I don't know if it's WB or it's Netflix or whatever, but I can imagine that their next move, at least in my opinion, is going to be in Japan. Now is the time to go for something in Japan. I know that a lot of people want to be petty and say they should buy Square Enix so they don't have a problem. I don't know if I want Square Enix. I'm not a big fan of their work, and I'm not a fan of their developers, especially when they start talking dumb stuff, which they have done in the past. But thanks for that, brother. Sith Lord, who's been a channel member and a good friend to the channel, says, "Hey guys, I said hi to you, Boom, on ILP, but they didn't read it until later. And unfortunately, he got COVID a second time in a year. It sucks. Hopefully, all is well. Stay healthy." Well, first of all, brother, thank you so much for being here, and hopefully, health and wealth for you. That that even though you got COVID again, it's not too debilitating for you. So get well, brother. Sir X-Man drops a $2 super chat and says, "The game reminds me of Shadow Warriors." Yeah, it kind of does, doesn't it? Yeah, that's a great comparison. Highlander 001 drops a $2 super chat and says, "Brad Smith is on the board of directors at Netflix." I did not even know that. Well, there you go. Another plant, as they say. Here we go. Brett Bingham, who's been a channel member for 6 months, drops a $2 super chat and says, "Hey, Boom, who are the moles at Sega?" Interesting. There's probably quite a few. Let's see. Oh, wow. Crazy Lou, I cannot believe I missed this. Are you okay, sir?
Yeah, I'm good. No worries. I'm good.
According to Crazy Lou, who stayed on while there was an earthquake, folks, in his region. So thank God you're okay, buddy.
Yeah.
Brett Brigham drops a $5 super chat and says, "Lona Khan thinks that she is Batman, but she is turning into Anakin." Oh, wow. Drawn TJ drops a $2 super chat and says, "Do you think Microsoft might want Sega?" Yeah, I do, but I don't know if that's the next move for them. Sega would be that'd be a big get. Sega just actually got confirmed that they're buying. It was originally reported at $1 billion that they were going to purchase the Angry Birds developer and owner of the IP, but it's for $725 million. I think they are set to acquire Rovio, which is it's good for them. They're gonna make it into something special, and they have a big IP. I mean, Angry Birds hasn't been popular in a very long time, but who knows? There's reasons why they're buying them, and who knows? You might see some Angry Birds in Sonic. That would be kind of cool. Let's see. We also have My Name is Mud. Hey, welcome to the program, brother. He drops a $2 super chat. Are you guys going to talk about Sega acquiring Ravio? We are, but it's going to be on tomorrow's Xbox Factor podcast. That story just broke today about how much. I want to read up on it before we can talk about it. So we'll talk about that and a few other things tomorrow on the Xbox Factor podcast at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But let's get to the outros. Web Dave, we'll start first with you, brother. Another fantastic Gamers Council podcast with a very special guest and a newcomer to the community, Kay Asante. Of course, you know I'm joking. That was a great show. I hung out with you guys for a little bit. A lot of great comments from the community. Of course, and you dropped an amazing one-on-one with Post Up, someone that I think everyone should follow. The guy is, like I tell you, he's sharp as a tack, and he's always giving us the hot takes. And what I love about the work that he does is that he goes out of his way to, like I read, to explain exactly what is happening in layman terms, so we understand what's happening, brother. Talk about it. Tell your brand.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I just dropped a link in the chat. If everybody could do me a favor and jump over to my channel when you get a chance and subscribe. Greatly appreciate that. We're at, I think, 730 right now, so we're on our way to 1,000. So.
We're gonna get you to 1K, brother. And if you're not
Dave?
subscribed, yes, please get over there and subscribe, because Dave does a lot of great work on his channel, especially the one-on-ones. He's interviewed pretty much everyone.
Got a bunch, over 60 now in the can, and more coming. So, but yeah, Post Up was a great interview, and before that, had Luke Steele, and I've had a lot of great interviews. You've been on there, Crazy Lou's on there, Fuzzy, and so many more. Most of the Iron Lords have been on there. Lord Sovereign was one from last week, and it's a blessing. It really is. I enjoy it, talking to him and to everybody, and it kind of gets a little more insight to what people are doing, and I enjoy that. And thank you so much for having me on, Boom. And there was also a member message I wanted to make sure that you picked up on that got dropped there.
Yep. Thank you. Eternal Shaddai, good friend of the program, has been a channel member for 6 months, says, actually 11 months. So thank you so much for that, brother. He says, great show, Boom and panel. Well, thank you, brother. We're glad that we entertained you, and I'm glad that you enjoyed it. And thank you for the very kind words. Crazy Lou Gaming, thankfully you're okay and you're still here. Sell your brand, brother. Talk about the Xbox International podcast, where they can subscribe, and more importantly, see you potentially without pants on Twitter.
You guys can find me at Crazy Louis Gaming on Twitter, where I say my good morning, say all my stuff and everything. Hanging out with you guys here 12 at noonish at the Xbox Launch Week special. Also on Tuesdays, Playing with Crazy, where I play scary games. I'm lately playing Resident Evil 4, which it's not that scary. I wish it was a little bit more scary, but yeah, I'm gonna get through it, just gonna beat it, so I can jump to another game called Demonologist, which I saw a trailer about it, and man, that looks scary.
That looks scary. That definitely looks scary, that one. Yeah.
Sure. Yes. And that's the one I'm gonna be playing, so everybody can laugh at me when I, jump out of my chair and everything. That's what everybody loves. And also, Wednesdays at the Xbox International Podcast, 7 p.m. ET, with my brother Silent Side for the Big Boom and Sour Blow. And I have to announce one last thing, and this is for the Spanish community. Xbox International Español is coming soon, May the 5th. So tune in, May the 5th at 7 p.m. I will put on the channel later on. Here, I'll drop it by. So everybody who speaks Spanish wants to join and subscribe, it's going to be there, the link. Sooner or later, I will drop it. I think I will drop it next week. But hey, that's where you can find me. Thank you all. Thank you, Mr. Boom. Great show today. It was a lot of fun, even though I had a little small earthquake here. I was about to run, but
Cinco de Mayo. That's a good date to start that on, man.
Yeah, that's a good day.
Yes, absolutely, brother. Listen, it's great to have you a part of the show, and I love the work that you're doing over at the Xbox International Podcast, and can't wait to see the growth and success. You guys hit 1K earlier last month, and we want to see you continue to grow. And so thank you for being a part of this each and every week. Last and no way least, Fuzzy Belvedere, we need to get your channel to 1K, bro. Talk about the best place for everything and anything in racing on YouTube, and more importantly, where can people reach out to you on social media?
Oh, just one. Thank you for having me on. It was awesome being on here with you guys, and glad Louis is safe with after surviving that earthquake. Hopefully that's it for today. No more tremors or anything like that. But man, and Sith Lord, speedy recovery, man. Hopefully you get through this a little bit smoother than previously and stuff.
Yeah.
But man, thanks for everybody coming out and watching us live, and those that will catch us on replay. For those that want to hear my rambles and rants and whatnot about anything gaming, including the Forza image leaks recently, just follow me on Twitter at Fuzzy_Belvedere. And then YouTube, just Fuzzy Belvedere, where I'm definitely going to have to do a lot more content before we do the big push for 1,000. But man, just awesome being here with you guys, and look forward to seeing everybody back here on Breakfast with Boom on Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Look forward to seeing you there.
Thanks, brother. Definitely appreciate that. And of course, I want to thank all the super chats that came in today, as always. And the channel memberships, they help more than you possibly know. And of course, I wouldn't close out any show without saying something that I learned as a very young lad. And I think that it made me the man that I am today, folks. And my dad taught me this, and he used to say, son, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, Craig. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone, and we'll see you next week on the newest episode of the Xbox Lunch Break Special.